And to that, I need more clear. Because are you inferring that, like, you don't use soap when you shower?
I think you're more of the problem than I am. You were nasty. You're the aggressive one. The ownership piece on your part is significantly lacking.
So let's talk about what happened between Shawn and Nikki. They're in their apartment, things are tense. I was immediately like, I feel like I'm missing something here. Like, where's the context? They do jump into the context, which is they got into an argument, a disagreement, something of the sort, in the airport on the way back. And what they both did say is that Shawn called her crazy, even though he claims it wasn't like in a certifiable way. He's like, I didn't say she was like certifiably crazy. And as we jump into the middle of a conversation they're having in their new apartment, it sounds like he thinks that she called herself crazy earlier in the day. And she's like, no, I said I'm a lot. And he was like, no, it was a direct quote. And it divulges into Nikki essentially saying that she feels like every time Shawn gets challenged or she pushes back against him, he immediately wants to jump to a resolution. He doesn't want to like let her be able to like air out her side of things. And I would agree with that. I feel like we've seen proof of that. So I don't think that's a far stretch for her to say that. She told him that he does not get to control when the conversation stops and starts. And he's like, I know that. Okay, fine. We can keep this conversation going. And she's like, at this point, it's not productive. And I was thinking, I was like, he really seems to lack accountability, like for his part in anything. And she immediately was like, I feel like the taking responsibility part is lacking. And it is. He doesn't know how to take accountability for any of his shortcomings. Because even in this, he's like, I'm new to being a husband and I don't think I'm very good at it. And it's like, a lot of this doesn't have to even do with necessarily being a husband. A lot of this is like being a good partner, being a good friend, like be able to listen, be able to take criticism without like trying to shut the conversation down. And so she ends up asking him to sleep on the couch. I can't blame her. I mean, I wouldn't want to sleep in bed next to somebody that I'm pretty frustrated with and I feel like doesn't really respect me. And I think that that's how she feels. And I'm sure that there are times where he feels like Nikki comes off cold. I can see that. There are definitely times where she also is very much a straight shooter and very direct in what she is saying. But there is a difference in tone. I don't have high hopes for these two. I think fundamentally they are two very different people personality wise. I think that Shawn has a lot of work that he needs to do. I think Nikki probably has some work that she needs to do. But I do think that there is a reason, a real reason, that Shawn is very single. And I think that the experts saw glimpses of it, but they're going to wait for the experts to come to talk to them to help them resolve this issue.
I do think the fact that I told my husband that I'm not physically attracted to him exacerbated some of his insecurities. That's why I think he's ratcheting up. I think he's trying to humble me a little bit.
I think Nikki just hit the nail on the head when she said that her telling him that she's not physically attracted to him, it did exacerbate his insecurities. And I do think that that's why he's trying to do everything in his power to humble her. And that's an insecure man. And like, it's also such an ugly personality trait. Crazy, you want her to be attracted to you and then you act this way, which is doing quite literally the opposite. He mentions that he might need to come in the morning, to the bedroom in the morning to get his underwear and take a shower. And she asked him, okay, can you not go ahead and get it now? Which is exactly the thought that I had. Like, why do you need to wait until the morning to do that? And he's like, so what do you mean? And she's like, well, is it going to involve you coming into the bedroom and like rummaging through things? And he's like, well, my stuff is in the closet. And she's like, so why not go ahead and grab it now? Which I don't understand why he won't just grab it now. If you know you need it in the morning, you know she's going to be in here sleeping, grab it now. And he's like, I'm not grabbing my shoes out the closet. That's ridiculous. How is that ridiculous? You have to grab them out the closet so you can leave in the morning. Grab them and put them by the door. You're being petty.
Sit down, dude.
So excited.
Oh my God.
Y'all, why? Like, absolutely why? So in the morning, they show a little clip of Adam shaving his beard, and he shaves like an M into it and the underneath, and Marissa's standing there and she's like taking a picture or video, and she's like, this is the most romantic thing anybody's ever done for me. Honestly, I thought it was a joke. I thought he was just doing that so she could get like the picture of the video and then he was going to shave it off. Why is it still on his like under chin in the car? I am actually disgusted.
Oh, is that the jet ski?
Yeah, the tarp, yeah.
There's a tarp on the roof.
So Adam and Marissa are at Adam's place, and he's showing her around before they get on the jet ski, of course. And he has a tarp on his roof that I think is holding up the gutter. And then, like, they go inside, he has a ton of plants. And then he's like, this bed is for my homeless friend. No, really, like, I have a homeless friend. He doesn't have a home. And I'm like, I'm just so confused. Obviously, I don't know how much things cost in Seattle. But if he is really as financially well off as he says he is, and number one, I'm sure the property he has did cost a very pretty penny. But why not fix whatever the tarp situation is dealing with? Like, he's actually calling it what it really is, which is a cabin. He has a lot of plants though, and his cat, I will give it to him, is very cute. As they're on this jet ski, Marissa is screaming her head off. And it is just like, girl, are you good? Are you good?
Your days are just gonna be gym and meal prep. Wait for me to come home.
Because I'm not a needy guy.
I don't want to rehash all of this right now. I've done the exhausting conversations till 2 a.m.
So Devin and Caitlin are in their apartment eating dinner, and she lets him know she starts back work tomorrow. What's he gonna do? He's like, oh, I think I might hit up some of my team, go to the gym, do some meal prep. And she's like, so you're just gonna do gym and meal prep? And he's like, I'm not gonna be sitting around waiting for you all day. Don't worry. And long story short, they get into this conversation about him saying that he's not needy, and it's like, well, you kind of are. And she's like, I don't want to have this conversation again, because he does start rehashing the whole thing in Mexico, which to his credit, he does apologize to her, and he's like, I'm sorry for, only thinking about what I wanted and needed and not thinking about what you needed and prioritizing it. And she's like, okay, she's like, but I don't really want to rehash this right now. I want to wait until Dr. Lisa. In her alone confessional, she brings up that she danced with him at the pool party. She took pictures with him. She put sunscreen on his back. She got on his back for pictures. She came up and hugged him. She was doing things, and it just seemed like it was never enough. And even staying up until 2 a.m., rehashing all of this and going over all of it over and over again. And she's like, it's exhausting. I don't want to do this. A relationship should be easy, and I don't want to be in a relationship if it's going to be like this. And with that reveal, I'm like, my God, that's a lot. That really shows that there was some real deep insecurities there on Devon's part of not being able to let any of this go.
All right, we're getting ready to go to our first expert sesh. Is she actually attracted to me? A flirty warmth is just not there.
If I do that and then take my hand away, does that mean I didn't do it long enough?
So before they continue, because I don't want to forget anything, the expert sessions have started, and we are starting with Courtney and Nick, in which they are talking about how they have not been intimate. They've only kissed a couple times. And what Nick says he feels like is missing is flirtatious warmth or something like that. But basically almost like a warmth to Courtney, where there is an openness of being able to flirt and seeming like she is into him in a way of even just placing a hand on his leg or whatever. And when they start diving into why she hasn't done that, she says that she grew up with her parents not really holding hands and stuff like that. But then as she starts going deeper and deeper, I really think that she's just overthinking everything. And I think that's our problem, because she's like, okay, but then I'm like, if I put my hand on your leg and then I pull it away, it's did I keep my hand there long enough? And I think she's thinking too much about it. It's not so much about the length of time, it's just doing it. And the thing is, the more you do something, the more comfortable it will become. And she's like, I want it to be comfortable. And it's it will be, but you have to start. And, even if that just means you place your hand on his leg for 3 seconds and then you pull it away to go do something else or something, then, it just is a thing. But place your hand there and stop thinking about the fact that your hand is there. I think that's the best course of action. I don't know what Dr. Lisa's going to say, but to me, I'm if you just place your hand there, don't think about the fact that it's there, more than likely he will grab your hand. But you do have to create the invitation to flirt and to be intimate and to have moments. And being intimate does not mean having sex. It just means having vulnerable moments of closeness.
My suggestion is to be a little bit more intentional. If I know that it's not something where then it's gonna lead to sex, I think that would make me feel a lot better.
So Dr. Lisa recommends that they have intentional moments of high flirtation throughout the day. And I like that. She said, even It's not going to lead to sex. It's not. Like, even if that's just you walking in the room and like touching the other person's face. And I think that was really good advice. I think that Nick also validating that would be enough for him, because he even said, like, you know, if when we sit down, all you do is you just put your hand on my leg and you just do this and then you pull your hand away, he was like, I would be all warm and fuzzy, because that's just something. And I think that that's what Courtney needs to hear, is that like he is not going to try and push it further. So you are in a safe place to just do a little bit of whatever feels comfortable to you, whatever feels natural to you. And I really hope that this is going to be like a turning point for them. I think that for Courtney, she just thinks that, oh, Nick is going to see this inch and try and take a mile.
My biological mom being out of the picture, I think that really affected me to a big degree.
I didn't know anything about my dad, so.
You got daddy issues?
I don't know.
I said I want a girl with daddy issues. I didn't say that.
Baljolie and Mecca are in their apartment. Mecca's cooking dinner. I think he's making salmon. Maybe he's making some type of fish. And they're talking about basically their mommy and daddy issues. And what strikes me as the larger overarching part of this conversation is that neither one of them have gotten therapy to help them heal from either one of those wounds. Mecca even acknowledges that he feels like his mom not being in his life contributes to a lot of issues that he has. And I understand that, like, as a community, as a larger community, there is still like a lot of stigma around therapy, but I would really like for us to do better. I feel like at this point it's time for us to do better for ourselves, for the next generations. You know, we don't have to keep passing this on. And I just feel like both of these people are exhibiting ways that they should have had therapy. She at least said that, like, when she met her dad, she told him, I don't want anything from you. I just want to be able to move on from this point. And he said, thank you. That is so generous and considerate of you. Which is what he told her mom when her mom reached out and told him that she was pregnant and didn't want child support. But she just wanted to let him know that she was keeping the baby. So he sounds like a piece of trash.
I don't share when I'm going through hard things because refreshing with how transparent you are.
So we had a nice little wine date with Tori and Felipe, where they had a pretty deep conversation, actually, where, you know, Felipe said that he's going to be transparent with her and let her know, like, when there's issues, that way she's not blindsided, because he really does want this to work and he really wants to build this relationship up. And she said that it's really hard for her to be transparent because whenever she's going through hard things, she's normally the one that has to deal with it. So when her mom had cancer last year, she was the one dealing with it, you know, and she like just kind of was rocking and rolling through it. And he was like, I'm sure that was so hard for you. And she was like, not really. My mom had cancer, not me. And he was like, but it's your family. And she was like, yeah, but you know, that's when you just like lean on your community and prayer and you just have to get through it. And I just thought that was like so interesting. I feel like a lot of people struggle with that, of being like they are the strong one in the family. When other people are having issues, they are the one that they come to. And I think that is exactly who Tori is for her family. I think that her family comes to her when there are hard times. And so she feels like, okay, well, when there's hard times, everybody comes to me. So obviously I just need to come to myself and deal with this. And it's just, I don't know. I hope that through this process, she will be able to open up and realize she doesn't have to carry it alone. Even if her and Felipe don't work out, I hope that she realizes you don't have to carry it alone.
She communicated that she's someone who needs space.
Okay.
I have a lot of just like rejection stuff. I need something.
I think I just need to like not be dissected as much.
Can we work on eye contact?
I feel like I'm not like very good at eye contact, but I feel like I've been doing better.
I feel like you've not really been doing.
So Devin and Caitlin are meeting with Dr. Lisa about their issues. And Caitlin says she doesn't want to be dissected as much. And basically they go through the whole story of the gym thing. So she's up getting dressed for the gym and he pokes his head up, looks at her and lays back down. And she said that she interpreted that as him saying, okay, I don't really want to go, because to her, that looks like you're awake and you're choosing not to go. Whereas he felt like she should have, I guess, woken him up from that point. I'm not really sure exactly. Even after saying not to dissect her as much and that less is more with her, he still just goes on to be like, can you do better with eye contact? And she's like, you know, I'm trying. I'm not great with eye contact. I'm trying. And I feel like I'm doing better. And he's like, I don't think you are. And it's like, You're being so critical of her right after she just asked you not to be. And thankfully, Dr. Lisa was like, dude, it's been a week, because he was like, I just don't want to feel like I'm getting breadcrumbs for dinner. He does need to realize it's only been a week. Accept what you have gotten so far. I don't know what type of woman you're used to before, but obviously Caitlyn is not it. And obviously that wasn't working for you. Otherwise you wouldn't be here.
I like that we don't compete for bathroom time. Do you get all the parts?
Media, they try to convince you to like use all this soap and all these things, but I don't think that really means clean.
Nikki and Shawn are in the bed. They were getting ready for bed, and Shawn was doing something that resembles a sponge bath. I'm not sure. And then he called it good and went to bed. Nikki, on the other hand, had very much a nighttime routine of doing some facial stuff, flossing, brushing, showering before getting in bed. They then start talking about hygiene because she said that hygiene is very important to her. And she's like, you're in and out in 3 minutes. How are you getting all the parts? And if that's true for how long it takes him to take a shower, how are you doing that? But then he says, well, when I put on lotion, I just slap it on myself. And when I shower, I just do the same thing. And he's like, media will try and tell you that you need to use all these soaps and everything. But does that really mean that you're getting clean? And to that, I need more clear. Because are you inferring that, like, you don't use soap when you shower? Are you hinting to the fact that you don't use soap when you shower? I hope not. But the way that Nikki was acting and responding and reacting to that, it makes me think that that is what he was saying. And she was like, I'm going to work on you. Working on him is better than me. I'd be like, yeah, that's just not going to work. What do you mean you're not using soap? I don't know. Being a conspiracy theorist around soap is strange to me.
Felipe and I had sex the first time, and I definitely had a strong dose of flight.
So ending out episode 6, Tori and Felipe had sex for the first time. Tori is then shown on the camera going to the living room 2 hours later, and she mentions that after they did that, she had a strong dose of flight, like, fight or flight. And she was like, it had nothing to do with Felipe or any of that. It's just a strong dose of vulnerability that I don't think I was ready for. I wonder if she has like some trauma there. But then they leave the episode at that. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with that information? But anyway, those were episodes 4 through 6 of season 20 of Married at First Sight. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching with me. Anywho, I will see you guys back on next Friday or possibly Saturday if there's this many episodes again for Married at First Sight. And until then, bye!